You space bastard! You killed my pan!
Alright, so we're gonna do a classic Clint Eastwood movie today. I watched this last weekend, actually. It's Dirty Harry from 1971, directed by Don Siegel. That director hasn't really done too much other than working with Clint Eastwood mostly. He did Escape from Alcatraz with him, and The Beguiled, and Two Mules for Sister Sarah. And this is actually kind of surprising that I haven't seen this movie until now. I actually haven't seen any of the Dirty Harry movies. There's 4 more after this. Of course, this is the first one. And I'm a really big Clint Eastwood fan. I've seen a vast majority of his movies, most of his westerns. But for some reason, just never really got around to watching the Dirty Harry movies. But I've always been interested in seeing them. And then I was recently watching Zodiac, the David Fincher movie, a while ago. And I'll get back to that again in the movie connections, but that made me want to watch the movie as well. And I'll kind of tell you why later if you don't know already. But yeah, so everybody kind of probably knows. I mean, Dirty Harry is one of the most iconic cop movies ever made. Easily his most memorable role for Clint Eastwood. And yeah, it's just super iconic in movie culture and just kind of pop culture in general. Dirty Harry, he's the kind of the quintessential badass cop. Set in San Francisco. And it starts with a woman swimming in a pool, and she gets shot. That's on a rooftop. And then the killer sends a letter into the cops or the newspaper. I can't remember where he sends it. But he calls himself the Scorpio Killer. That's all we know him as. And he's warns that he's going to start killing people if he doesn't get money and rewards later. And so, we're actually introduced to the killer first, and then we meet Harry. His full name is Harry Callahan. All of his co-workers and everybody just calls him Dirty Harry. He eventually says why. It's because they give him all the dirty jobs to do. And so yeah, he's on the case. He's trying to find this guy. And there's a couple things that happen, a couple more crimes. Actually, I guess before that, I'll get to his partner. He gets paired up with a new partner named Chico, and he's played by Rennie Santori. Most notable for me, anyways, as Poppy from Seinfeld. Poppy that peed on the couch and didn't wash his hands. That's how I know him most. He's also in Cobra with Sylvester Stallone and some other things. So that's his partner, and we kind of get, we slowly get more and more information about Harry. He says he doesn't want a partner, and he tells Chico, only bad things happen to my partners. They're either hospitalized or even worse. He doesn't want a partner, but, he's forced to have one by his chief, captain, whoever. And so they're on the case. They're on the Scorpio Killer. It's not a mystery who the Scorpio Killer is. We never really get his name, but he's shown right away, so it's not like a mystery who's doing the killings. Didn't really recognize the actor. His name's Andrew Robinson. Kind of looked like, I thought, Malcolm McDowell from Clockwork Orange. But anyways, so he's the killer. They're on the case. And then one of the more prominent things that happens towards the beginning is, beginning, middle. So they know he wants money. He kidnaps a 15-year-old girl, says that she's buried somewhere and she'll die if they don't bring him the money. And Harry volunteers to do it, bring him the money, and he starts running him around all around town. Very a la Die Hard with a Vengeance, when John McClane and Zeus, played by Bruce Willis, and Samuel Jackson, when they're running around New York, trying to stop the bomb, and they're being run around. That's basically pretty much that plot line is pulled from Dirty Harry. He does the same thing. He has to run from phone to phone, wherever the killer tells him to do, so he's not followed and stuff like that. That's a really good scene. I really like that sequence. And eventually, actually, Harry gets the killer. I was kind of surprised that it happened. He gets him about halfway through, maybe a little further into the movie. He catches him, or roughs him up pretty good, but he gets let go for, some really sketchy reasons for his rights and all the evidence, circumstantial type things. And as you can guess, this really rubs Harry the wrong way. Not like that at all. So that guy gets let go. There's a couple other scenes. I don't want to divulge all of the things that happen. There's a good scene about what the killer kind of does, to get back at Harry a little bit. And then towards the end, there's a really good chase sequence. And it involves a bus. I'll say that, I guess. And yeah, it was a really good movie. I liked it a lot. I gave it a 4.25, so it's really up there. I don't want to give away all the scenes, obviously. I think this should be watched by everybody. It pretty much set the standard for, this cop drama, kind of a buddy cop drama, but it's more focused on Harry. I thought it was going to be a little more of he would be a little more of an anti-hero, because that's how it's kind of presented a lot of the times, Dirty Harry. But he's actually he's a really good cop. He's good at what he does, and, he just kind of gets that nickname because he does things other cops don't want to do, and he usually takes a moral high ground on a lot of things, even if that puts him on the wrong side of, other cops or his bosses and stuff like that. So that kind of surprised me a little bit about his character. Let's see. So yeah, it has good action. It still really holds up very well today, I thought. A lot more than some 70s movies. And this is early 70s, 1971. I still thought it was really entertaining. Great action. I like the soundtrack. Kind of stereotypical 70s cop music. Kind of poppy. I'm not going to try to sing it. But it works in the movie. What else? Clint Eastwood looks really good as a cop in San Francisco. Very stylish. He makes a sweater vest look pretty badass. I thought that was funny. He wore a sweater vest a lot of the time. And there's the scene towards the end with the bus. And I was reading that he actually did all of his stunts for this scene, which is pretty impressive. He jumps off like a bridge onto a bus. He's wearing like his Ray-Ban Wayfarers the whole time, and he looks super badass. I thought that type was pretty cool. I definitely recommend the movie. How iconic it is. Everybody knows the movie. That's such a great character. Everybody knows, and kind of glossed over a couple scenes. There's the iconic scene where he gives his line, did I fire 5 shots or 6? He says that actually a couple times in the movie. That's a burglary scene. That's a pretty interesting scene too. And then there's a scene that really made me think of Lethal Weapon. So I guess I'll get into the movie connections. There's a Lethal Weapon. So Lethal Weapon took a scene pretty much right out of this movie. It has to do with a negotiation type thing. I'll let you maybe try to guess what it is. Otherwise, once you see the movie, you'll know what it is right away. Die Hard with a Vengeance that I mentioned takes a scene directly from this, or a plot point, the chase sequence, running from phone to phone. And then the other movie connection is one I mentioned at the very beginning, was that the Zodiac. And I never knew this about the movie, that it's loosely based on the Zodiac Killer. So that happened in the late 60s, early 70s in San Francisco, the California area. The Zodiac Killer was killing people, and never knew that. And then I never got that reference really the first time I watched the movie Zodiac when it came out in 2007. But then I just recently watched it a couple weeks ago, and as I was watching it, there's a scene in the middle when Mark Ruffalo, who is the main detective on the Zodiac case, he goes to the premiere of Dirty Harry because the movie's, loosely based on what was happening in those Zodiac killing cases. So I thought that was really interesting. It's kind of what made me want to watch it again. I watched this as well. So there's that connection. And then, of course, there's multiple sequels to Dirty Harry. There's Magnum Force, The Enforcer, Sudden Impact, and The Deadpool. And those are all the other sequels. And I'll probably watch the majority of them, and who knows when I'll get around to them, though. Because it took me so long just to watch the first one. But yeah, like I said, I gave it a 4.25, and it's really good. Definitely would check it out. And I don't think I have much more. So, to sign off, I guess I'll say, you just gotta ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do ya, punk?